Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? I am playing with my stuff over here to make things work.
Click show.
And there we go, right there.
Happy Friday morning, everybody.
I hope y'all are doing wonderful. Number one, if you've been here before, welcome back to the Trade Talks Live. We love having you here. I see Matt McDonough already jumped in to say hello. If this is your first time here, hang out. Listen to what all we talk about. If you've got questions or concerns or you'd like to comment about it, love to hear what you have to say. As you see, it's not just me here. Squirt is in the house. Happy Friday to y'all. Squirt, how are you today?
I'm doing lovely. Good morning, everybody. Henry Wakefield, a.k.a. Randy, a.k.a. Squirt. You're going to hear this guy call me all of the above.
And some more
guaranteed,
names that we hope you don't hear.
and a bunch of extras. I was a 20-year pipe fitter. Now I run League Pro. And we do want to thank League Pro for sponsoring today's episode of the Trade Talks, where we build the best leak detection system for professional plumbers. And if you want to check out our equipment, you can visit www.leak-pro.com or give me a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO, and we'll talk some more about it here in a little bit.
Like this, Matt McDonough starting it off early says, Mr. Miyagi of Plumbing Square, how are you guys doing? Happy Friday, bourbon and amaretto weekend. Now, I've never. You got to tell me how you mix your bourbon and amaretto, because I've never done that. Sounds interesting though. I used to love amaretto. I definitely love bourbon. So, good stuff going on. TikTok, Instagram, like I said, love to have y'all jump over onto YouTube, find the Trade Talks. If you got questions, comments, or anything, or you just like to jump in the chat and say hello. If so, jump over and let us know where you came from, TikTok or Instagram, and say hello. And guys, if you've got a question, put a Q in front of it, and I will make daggum sure we get to that no matter what. But we're going to start out talking about the national news, and I'm not sure what TSMC is.
Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company.
Man, I knew that you would know. A $100 billion investment in U.S. chip plants.
Yes.
That's big.
Now, we worked semiconductor. We worked at chip plants.
Yes, we know what it's all about.
Tons of hours to be worked at a chip plant if you want to, especially when it's booming.
Y'all have heard me talk about the year that I worked over 3,000 hours. Now, 2,000 hours is a normal year. So imagine averaging 60 hours a week for the entire year. A lot of 2 comma checks, few 3 comma checks. And I don't mean 3 commas, don't get me wrong. A 3 with a comma, 0, 0, 0. And yeah, those are nice to take home for a while.
That's
for
it.
a whole year.
Whole year is
it's a whooping.
It's long. It's long. I can remember whenever I was first started out at the Hill working 6 10s and an 8. And everybody was kind of like, really, an 8 on Sunday? And it's like, man, it gives me an opportunity to kind of do some laundry. But that 2 hours off actually makes a small difference.
Man, it does.
Mentally.
It does.
And it helps you keep going for weeks on end. And we did that probably 6 months whenever I'd first got in. But it didn't bother me too bad, because really that 8-hour day gave you that freedom just a little bit. And that change reset you. So you actually knew when Mondays were. It wasn't losing tracks of the days.
Okay, so they're talking about building new chip plants, and you were involved with RFAB. So you were involved with the new chip plant build. And, my thought to you is, how many people is it going to take? How many people is it going to take to put together? I mean, this is massive.
Thousands. Like the investment is expected to generate 20 to 25,000 high-paying jobs.
And this is long term.
That's long term.
Right.
It's going to take thousands to go in there and build it, guys. I can remember the last one we did, not to this size and magnitude, really, because there's going to be multiple plants going on in the area over in Phoenix. But
not Texas.
Not Texas. Not Texas Cisco. This one's in Phoenix, which semiconductors been picking up more and more in Phoenix over the past couple of decades. It's a lot's been pulling there.
But, and think about it, there's dry air out there. It's a dry heat. That's one thing they have a problem with here, keeping the moisture out of there in the fab rooms. And it's cool.
It is. It's neat that they spread it everywhere. We still got new chip plants going in here in Texas also. It's not stopping anywhere, guys. More and more chips are needed. Cell phones, I mean, come on, they just keep getting better and better. doing more and more things.
Do you really think they get better?
Well,
I mean, you've got an Android and an Apple now. Randy's
I
like
do.
so
I've got
diverse.
about, it's just
He
I pull out
wants
different ones for different things, though.
he wants the Google next. It's like, dude, how many phones do you need? He said, I don't know yet. I'm trying to figure it out.
I'm trying to pick the right
I
one. You
know.
know.
He said, I just want all of them to play with.
But the plans here they include 3 new chip fabrication plants, 2 advanced packaging facilities, and an R&D center. R&D center, guys. That means they're going to develop new chips that do cooler things than what we already have in our pockets. Like, that's going to be huge. Government support. A $6.6 billion grant from the Biden administration back in 2024 encouraged TSMC to enhance its U.S. facilities.
Yeah, I think he did that grant just so people wouldn't realize that he was pardoning Hunter Biden and everybody else, and he's trying to distract. It was a smoke and mirror thing. Y'all watch the smoke over here, and I'm gonna move the mirror. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. But I do look. I love the chip industry. It was a great place for me to work. Put in a lot of time out there. Made a lot of extra house payments while I was out there, and that just a really good thing to be part of. Now we're gonna move into the bottom line here. And guys, this is a big one because a lot of people, I still know companies that are like, look, we don't even take credit cards. And it's like, what is wrong with you? It's the way of the world. And what we're talking about today is, should tradespeople offer financing to clients? Guys, that's a freaking yes immediately. Because here's the deal. You can get set up through Wells Fargo, Synchronicity, Green Sky. There's so many different places you can get set up. And we did Wells Fargo, and I loved it. Because literally, I mean, I got an extra mic on today, so I'll give that back to Colton. Here's the deal. Most homeowners cannot write a check. I've heard different, pull it up on your phone. Say how much money can most homeowners not write a check above? Something like that. Because when you first get in and start learning stuff like this, they tell you, oh, most homeowners can't write a check for over $1,000. I think I was told $2,500. And you look at it, and at the time, I was like, yeah, okay, I get that. I don't know that I could write a check for over that. And I could if I had to. But I want you to think about this. Most homeowners and businesses often delay projects due to the upfront cost. Now, if you're selling me a major kitchen remodel and it's 30 grand, and I'm like, man, I can't do it. But if you come in and say, look, what if I told you you could do this for $400 a month, $500 a month? That's like a car payment. It's like, you know what? I can do that. Now you can make it work. And I've told y'all before, I've worked at companies that had great ways to word it. But you come up and you tell somebody, hey, look, what about doing all this today? Number one, do you want to spend your money or our money? And they're like, wait, what do you mean? Like, well, we have financing, so you can spend our money and just pay it back. Or you can spend your money today and just pay for it. It doesn't matter, whichever way you want to go. What's the matter? It won't tell you.
It won't do it right. It does like a 1 to 4% annual base to plan and set back for repairs.
No, I like that.
To kind of give you an idea.
So if you make $100,000 a year, it's telling you to have $1,400 to put up, $1,400 to $4,000.
Yep.
That means anything up to that, if you don't have that savings, you can't write that check.
That's it.
So I mean, there you go, $1,400. I'll live with that. I like the way my analytical mind tries to work. But here's the deal: offering in-house financing or partnering with third-party lenders is amazing. And the in-house financing, I know a lot of y'all think this is crazy, but I was told about a company, I want to say it was in Lubbock, that's what this guy does. He does in-house financing. He doesn't charge any interest rates or anything like that. So he goes out and he just tells people, look, look, we'll do that. Well, I can't afford that. Okay. How much can you afford? I can afford $100 a month. Okay. Then you send me $100 a month every month for the next 36 months. There's your $3,600. You'll do that? Absolutely. This guy does it with no credit check. You don't fill out anything. He's just like, look, and you're in Lubbock. I'm good. And it's like, you can't go to Lubbock and not do financing for free and not compete with this guy.
Yep.
And compete with him, because he's going to be like, hey, I'm sorry, but this is the way I do business. It is built on relationships. He comes out, he gets to know. He's like, look, we can do the job. Here's what it'll cost. And he finances that out of his pocket. So he's paying for the plumber. He's paying for the water heater. He's paying for everything going on. And I think that is just phenomenal. But there's a lot of people that can set up the in-house financing. I mean, you can get an app and figure out, okay, if I did in-house financing at 8% interest for a $2,400 water heater, how much would it be? Excuse me, Fred, but if you'll pay $128.50 every month, I'll finance this for you. Now he makes the 10%. Nothing wrong with that. And I said 8%. But many major HVAC, plumbing, and roofing companies already offer financing. Guys, if you're not, you're losing business. And it's not hard to set up. It's really not. Just get in there, get it done. Go ahead, fill out all the paperwork. It takes a little time. But man, if you've got a CSR or somebody, give her the paperwork. Say, hey, look, can you do this? This will help you increase sales. It helps keep you competitive because now on your website, on your Yellow Pages, if you're still running Yellow Pages ad, you can put, we offer financing. And this improves your cash flow because when we did Wells Fargo, if you were financing a $50,000 tunnel job, guess what? I got paid my 50 grand up front. It's like, here you go. They filled it out, done. You're good. And I don't mean up front when the job was complete, but I'm not having to wait 10 years for you to pay me back 50 grand. But there is risk of non-payment. That's what I like about the third party because they run the credit check. There are third party fees. We paid Wells Fargo, but also they paid Wells Fargo. And then there's extra admin work because you got to fill out the paperwork. You got to do it. You got to check it and make sure everything is done right. That's one that it's funny because when I'm coaching tradespeople, I always tell them, this is a yes. This is something you need. This is something that can change your bottom line very, very easy. So now we're going to get into safety and the rise in trench collapses, fatalities leads to new OSHA regulations.
Yep.
And look, I've studied trenching. Did you ever go over to, was it United that had the big trench course where you put together the trench box, you study it, you know the different soil types? Never did all that?
No, we did soil types in the classroom
When
with
you
the
were in
box
school?
and sand and everything, where you actually kind of dug it to the ratios, and we understood collapses and poured water and did things to watch cave-ins
To
and
make it
stuff,
happen. Yeah.
to make it happen, to see exactly what happens. I've dealt with trench boxes. I've dealt with every type of excavation, I feel like, just about out there. From stretching up to Oklahoma to where it was just sand and that was it, to where you had to lay a ditch back 24 feet wide to be able to go 6 feet deep.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like,
it's crazy at how wide a trench can really get. But whenever you understand all the safety portions of it, especially when we did it in that classroom dumping water, it's like, no, there's no give on this, guys. Here's how wide this has to be, period. I don't care.
and then again, when I did the Baylor Heart Hospital, the big curved hospital downtown, I was out there shooting total station points. Well, I shot the total station points to get the backhoes in to dig, track hose, whatever they were, because it was solid bedrock. It was bedrock and quartz.
Oh,
I mean, I used to bring home pieces of quartz about this big, and it was just really, really cool. But there's no trenching required. It's rock. It's not gonna move. It's not gonna cave in. Now, I'm sure it could if they're the track hose riding up on the side of the ditch or something. It could happen. But I mean, literally, those were the only ditches I've been in. That, and I mean, guys, we're like 6, 7, 8 feet deep, and it's like a concrete wall next to you.
Yep.
And it was a neat job to be on because, yes, it was harder to dig. Yes, it took longer to dig. And me running the total station, I'm setting up a total station and jacking my reflector up.
Yep.
And I'm down in here trying to read everything. And we've got a total station set up like on a parking garage across the street to help shoot down into the holes. It was just, look, you got to do what you got to do. But you've come up with some pretty cool stuff here. 39 fatalities in 2023, which is too many.
It's a 40% increase from the previous years.
Yeah. See, yeah, that's scary.
That is super scary. That means something has happened in the training and a gap was created, because that's a major setback there.
There should not be 39 deaths in the trade.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you.
So OSHA's ramped up enforcement, introducing higher fines and criminal referrals for repeat offenders. Good for them.
Yeah.
Because if you don't learn that first time, then you're probably not going to learn it. And I love the criminal deal here because you can't just keep repeating mistakes over and over. It leads to major devastation.
And then when Bubba comes in to see you in prison, he says, "Hey, little boy, what you in here for?" And you tell him, "Because I was digging trenches and putting people's lives in danger." It's gonna be, yeah, you're stupid. Come here, hang out with me for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck. Have fun.
Some of the most common causes of these trench deaths, guys, lack of proper trench boxes or shoring for the different types of material that you're in, because everyone's a little different. And these are things that you learn whenever you go through your OSHA training and things like that. You learn the basics of it. If you are working in them, you are going to want to do a little more research just to study that. But excavations deeper than 5 feet without protective systems, and I even say at 4, you better start having something, because if you get down on your knees, guess what? You are completely encased in that trench, and it's enough to hurt you. Soil instability and water infiltration leading to sudden collapses. If there's running water anywhere near your open trench,
Be aware
it is changing what's going on in that soil around you. So be extra cautious. We'd usually, after rainy days, we'd let a couple days happen before we got into too many things, because you'd have to check a lot of things. Hit it with that backhoe and check the walls first, kind of bump some things, try to collapse your ditch almost, more or less, is kind of what we would do.
Yeah, try to collapse it yourself.
That's it.
Before people get in there.
Before anybody's down in the hole. And that's what we do. I'd be like, hey, get that over here. Hit the sides for me. I just want to check. It rained over the weekend.
See what it'll do.
Let's see where we're at, what we came back to for this Monday. So you want to go through some of those extra steps. The new OSHA guidelines, random inspections.
Okay, they've been doing that for a while, y'all. But
they
they're
are
doing more of them.
Doubling trench safety inspections nationwide. So expect to see them, okay? Hopefully you see them way more.
Now here's the big one. Up to a $300,000 fine. So I want you to imagine that, because they're talking about the fines going up for your second offense. If you're dumb enough to do this the first time and get in trouble for it, and you're dumb enough to do it again, you're really getting in trouble for it. And I mean, look, we're plumbers. We tunnel under houses. We have dig crews. We don't do trench safety. I mean, and I don't mean trench safety. We have a professional dig crew comes in that does things right.
Yep.
And it's almost like that bedrock we're in. Number one, it's not 5 feet deep. And I guess sometimes they are. They're normally about 4 feet. Because they're just trying to get under the grade beam and then give you enough room to get in there and work. But, you know, I'd be interested to talk to an OSHA representative. Maybe we can see about getting one in here one day. And say, look, you know, plumbers tunneling under houses in Texas, what's the right thing to do? Because I would like to know, because we've never had, I'm a trench safety guy. I get it. I've had the certification. And I say I was one, because it expires and you got to renew it. So, and I didn't. So I'm not anymore. Not claiming to be anything I'm not. I'm not a doctor or a lawyer or anything like that either. But I mean, I'm smart enough to know that, hey, it's worth asking the right people the right questions. So I would. I'd love to see if we can do that.
The last big one is every trench over 5 feet deep must have a trained safety supervisor monitoring conditions. This is a mandatory competent person that is on site anytime work's going on, is I'm sure the underlining clarification here that's not just clearly stated.
That's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And I say nuts. It's not nuts in a bad way.
Kind of back to the scaffold
nuts
thing.
Yeah.
You got to have that.
A competent person look at it every single day.
Yep. So
it's nuts that it's not already in place.
That's
I guess
it.
is the way I mean that.
Like, for sure.
Okay, so we're into the construction. We're talking about Sweden's Timber City Initiative.
Man, now
They're getting serious.
Stockholm, Sweden is set to host the world's largest city made entirely from timber, named Stockholm Wood City.
Okay, this is a trip.
This blew my mind, because I was like, man, I don't do a whole lot of things global around here, but this is pretty cool.
It's
and
intriguing.
I'm just like, wow, like, let's talk about this new construction, because who would have thought about an all timber city? Like,
And I got to tell you, I've done a house like that. And this is probably 35 years ago. There was a house somewhere here in Allen, and I wish I knew where it was. I'd love to just drive out and see it again. But they literally, this guy's building a greenhouse back before we were building greenhouses.
That's cool.
And he built it into like the side there was a hill that came up, and then there was a pond. And he literally excavated part of this hill out, built his house in there. So when the wind blew from the north, well, that was the edge of the house. It blew right across the top of his house. There was no cold air blowing on his walls.
Yep.
Inside, there was no sheetrock. It was all wood. Every bit of it, inside, outside, and it was beautiful. It wasn't just like, yeah, just put some put some plywood up. That'll be fine. Oh no, 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 no. This was amazing. Now on the south side, it was built up off the pond, but there was like this 6 or 8 foot culvert looking thing going up under the house. So when the air blew in from the south, it would blow across the water up under the house, and he had vents that he could open that would let this cooler air come in. And I'm telling you, this is just one of the coolest houses that I ever got to work on. And I wish that I could remember where it was, because I'd love to go by and see it and see if it's still there and how it's held up and what it looks like. But it was all timber.
That's pretty neat.
It was so cool.
Well before his time.
Oh, yeah.
And past time, I would say, too, because I'm sure that's a little close to an older age back whenever it was just timber mainly.
And here's what I like about this. By 2027, they want to build over 2,000 homes.
Yes.
So, I mean, 2,000 homes, average what, 4 people in each home?
Yep.
8,000 people in this area now?
That's it.
This is going to be a neat thing to see.
There's implications for global construction also. Innovation Materials demonstrates the potential of timber in large-scale urban development. And this is proof of concept more than anything, guys. Instead of using a bunch of these other parts and pieces, all timber, every single part and piece. And that's pretty cool. The environmental benefits here, it highlights the role of sustainable materials in reducing the construction industry's carbon footprint.
Love it.
All timber, and like they're using some the advance in engineering and focus on sustainability here. We can do more with the same wood that we used to do, like we're getting smarter at how to use it, different ways to actually place it and put it that creates a stronger structure. So it's huge to where everything's headed.
And the neat thing is, look, when people do this anywhere in the world, everybody in the world sees it and they start looking at what can we do here? And this is where the new mindset comes in and talking about mindset. Why tradespeople should think like entrepreneurs. And I love this because the very first time that I saw it, where it clicked, I'm walking a job with Robert Brock.
Yep.
Okay. And we're walking, and he had took me out, and this was probably this was the first union job that I was on. And he's walking me around the site, and literally there was a pile of dirt where people had been sweeping up. And he goes over and he picks up about 6 3/8 washers or 6 3/8 nuts, and he puts them in his pocket. And I kind of looked at him. I said, "Do you need those for something?" He said, "No." He said, I picked them up. I don't want to get thrown away in the trash." He's like, "Yeah, but I mean, there's 6 of them. They're about a nickel a piece." He said, "Okay, that's 30 cents. If I can save 30 cents on this job every day, and this is a 1-year project or 2-year project, what do you think that's going to add up to?" And I'm like, "Wow." And I said, "You act like this is your company." He said, "I run it like it's my company."
Right.
And I want you to think about that because, and I don't know if you've got more commercial or what here, but my thought has always been, as a residential service plumber, when you're in a van, you run that van like that is your business. And I don't mean don't do things the owner says to do or anything like that. You try to make that the highest revenue generating, profit making vehicle, and you're going to be busy forever.
Yep.
Because you run it like it's your business, not like, hey, you know what, just throw that away. Don't worry about it. We'll get another one tomorrow. No, don't go in with that mindset. Understand every penny you make, every penny you save, every penny you help put back into the company, it makes you look amazing.
And the funny thing is it gets noticed, guys. If you're that apprentice running around on the job and that superintendent sees you picking up nuts randomly throughout the job you're walking through, they're going to make a mental note. Man, check this kid out.
I know. This kid's saving us money.
Dude, like he's collecting everything that's out there. This is awesome. And they're going to make that note. And guess what? That apprentice is going to stay on that job longer than just about any other apprentice out there, because that's what the superintendent saw when he walked through. So keep your mind here. Treat it like it's yours. I tried to run all of my crews like they were mine, and we kind of would always turn into a little tight-knit family, taking care of each other, helping each other, and learning from each other and teaching each other. And that's really huge.
Well, and what I love about this, I remember, or it reminds me of an article that I read or saw somewhere about this little old lady. She had a job that was about a mile from her house, and she walked every day. And she had a wagon, and she'd drag this wagon along. And she picked up Coke bottles, aluminum cans, and stuff like that. Recyclable stuff that, some of you people throw out the windows. I don't.
Oh,
But she would pick this stuff up, and she would recycle it once a week or whatever. She died in her 80s, still walking to the job, but had over $3 million in the bank. Guys, it adds up. It just treating it like it's yours can literally change the way you're seen and the way you're looked at. But I want you to think about that. Let's talk about Leak Pro here.
We'd like to thank Leak Pro for sponsoring today's episode of the Trade Talks here, where I build the best leak detection system for professional plumbers. And what I build 2 different devices, guys. They both come in the complete kit. It comes with both pieces of equipment, 2 headphones, the whole kit to be a universal adapter, and the remote controlled outlet, which makes it to where you can locate leaks as a one-man show,
Man.
which is huge. I build 2 different devices. I build a T-handled probe with a stainless steel rod, real durable, for probing in and out of the ground. That's used mainly from your meter to your home service, anything outdoors, things like that. But then whenever you step foot inside, you really want to switch to your Sidekick. It's a pistol grip style with an aluminum rod, and it'll pretty much remove that layer of concrete that you're listening through whenever you're taking a listen. But also, I do the equipment, but I do a 2-day in-person training here just outside of Dallas, Texas, in a little town called Wiley. And I've got 11 leaks out here under a slab to train you on. We go through, do line locating first so that you know where everything is. And we'll go through, teach you how to pinpoint locate leaks under a slab for the water lines. But then also on day 2, we go through, I've got 2 sewer systems set up. I've got a cast iron system and a PVC system, where we teach you how to send a test ball from the double clean out outside of the home and into branch lines throughout that sewer system, so you can determine exactly where a sewer system's leaking when you can't just see it on the camera or anything like that. So
if you want to find out more, find his website. Number one, got great stuff going on there. www.leak-pro.com. Go check that out. I recommend the complete kit. If you're going to get everything. Don't say, well, I'm going to start off with this little piece, because the first job you go on, you're going to be like, man, I wish I had that other one. But having 2 tools, having 2 sets of headphones, having all the materials that you need, and having the most amazing case I've ever seen a leak detection kit come in is phenomenal. And Leak Pro is the most precise leak detection system for professional plumbers. And if you get the complete kit, get the training, learn how to use it right. And to talk to Squirt, give him a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO, and he can tell you what you need, how to get it, and how soon he can get you.
that's it.
You've done well there. You really have.
I have, man. Like most people, they call and it's like, how quick can you ship something out? It's like, look, I typically ship 24 to 48 hours, guys. You pick how quick the shipping part is, not me. So check it out. If you want equipment, you need it quick, get on the site, man. Put in an order. We'll get it shipped out quick.
Put it this way. He is so good, he can ship it as soon as yesterday.
Just about.
I mean, I'm telling you guys, this has become a science here. Let me tell you, that's what we ought to do. Talk to the shipping people. Say, hey, can we just keep kits down here? And we just call you. Say, hey, kit number 1, throw this here. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, no, we're on the phone, but your shipment has already happened. No, I like that. Okay, all trades, the industrialization of construction. Now, y'all remember the industrial industry where everything started becoming manufactured in assembly lines and what at the time they would call automation. Something picks up the car and rolls it down, and you bolt the wheels on, and you do this and you do this, and that was the industrial industry. Now we're looking at the industrialization of construction.
Yeah, and this refers to using automated manufacturing techniques, prefabrication, and robotics to make building processes faster, cheaper, and more efficient. And I left this in it because I saw a video just the other day where they pulled a robot in Florida, this big truck. They'd load cinder blocks into the back of it, and it had a robot arm that would go out and set every cinder block around this home.
Wow.
Now, you had a crew of 3 or 4 guys setting everything perfect, going through checking every brick, making sure everything's perfect, plumb, level, square, all that. But it was a robot setting every brick out.
And
No man picked one up.
Here's what I want y'all to think about. Because one of those Mason guys 6 months ago said, yeah, they ain't never going to get a robot to do our job. I'm just
That's
saying.
Now they don't have to pick up the bricks.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
So I think that this, there's things coming to truly industrialize construction.
All right, I'm going to jump into comments real quick. It says, I agree, time is the one thing that you have to balance. 1 shot of bourbon, 2 shots of amaretto. See, man, I love that. Do HVAC installers or techs make more money? Man, the installer can do really, really good. The technician can if he does sales too. So you've kind of got to look at both of it. I think you get in, you learn how to do it all. That way, when you become that sales tech person, you know how to talk to them about everything. Got that? Matt says, it depends on what you're installing and how many service calls you do to know which one makes more. Absolutely. And Matt also says, so Roger, if you're just floating around the house doing nothing, my favorite in the morning, coffee, we'll have a shot of bourbon and a 1/4 cup of Disaronno Velvet Cream. And Amaretto Disaronno is amazing. I love it. So that's good. And Matt says, a businessman is always looked at as an asset.
Yes.
Guys, if you're running your business like it's yours, if you're running your truck like it's yours, if I put you in charge of the 3rd floor at a hospital and you run it like it's yours, yeah, you're going to be doing good. And I'm going to keep you around as long as I can.
And that's how you can climb the ranks the fastest in the trades too, guys. Because they had me, I hired in a new company. I was a journeyman for a long time. And then finally somebody's like, hey, you want to be a foreman out here? And then once my foot went in that door, they were just like, oh, here, let's move you up. Let's move you up. Let's move you up. Because I treated it like it was mine and made decisions like it was mine. Luckily, I worked for a company that gave you that authority too. And they're like, look, run it like it's yours. We're fine. So put in that work and the time, and it'll pay off. I promise.
No, I love that because I remember going in and talking to Ronnie one day, and I walked in and I said, man, look, I got a problem. And I'm trying to make changes. He said, well, look, we can't make changes like that. So what do you mean we can't make changes? He said, Roger, when you have a problem on your job, you want to make a change immediately. I said, yeah. He said, well, we've got your managers, the general superintendents, the vice presidents, the presidents. This has to go through a chain of command. I'm like, Ronnie, 6 freaking months to fix a problem that I can walk on my job site tomorrow and say, hey, don't do that anymore. We're not doing it.
Yep.
And he's like, but you can't do that. I said, watch me. Love Ronnie to death, but like you said, Ronnie, run it like it's my job, and I will. You want to get on to me later because I did something wrong? I'm fine with that. But if I see a problem that's costing us money and this is my job, my number one job is to bring a job in profitable, on time. Profitable also means under budget and safely. So guys, think about it. Do what you got to do. Okay, laws and licenses, and I'm going to get up on my soapbox.
Yep.
The push for a national contractor's license. And as long as we mean plumbers, electrical, and HVAC, I'm good with that. I don't want just a national general contractor.
No.
I want a national plumbing license where it says, Roger, you can go to work in Boise, Idaho if you want to, or you can go to work in New York City. Yeah, New York City's probably not ever going to go for this. I don't know why I picked that one. All right, what you got, Squirt?
Well, currently contractor licensing requirements vary by state.
You bet.
Okay, this creates confusion, delays, and limitations for businesses that work across multiple regions. Now, there's a growing movement for a federal level contractor license, which would streamline business operations and reduce bureaucratic red tape.
Wait. You said bureaucratic red tape, BC. I thought it was like BS tape.
Well, it is. I mean,
Okay.
it's
I'm,
the
I'm
same.
just making it clear here.
It's on the same shelf, I promise.
Yeah, boy, they're right next to each other. And that's bull sewage, the
but-
BS, in case you were wondering.
You know, there's pros and cons to all of this, and I understand that. You know, I've been in Texas all my life. I know it's done a little different here. It's done a little different in New York. It's done a little different here.
But we're smart enough to know that.
We are smart enough to know that, and I feel like most of the nation is. And, you know, some of the potential benefits here for the national license that it came up with is easier to operate across state lines, which is huge. And that's great for anything bad that ever happens. You know, any storms come through, things like this. We can send workers from anywhere, everywhere to help
If
And
they have the national certification.
if they have this national certification. It'll create fewer delays for large scale projects because we can pull workers from other states if needed. I hear it a lot in here in our chats. I can't find any work in my area. Guess what?
Move to Florida.
There's work in another state, I guarantee it, if you want to travel.
Yep.
And I understand if you don't also. But that's pros and cons here
No,
that you
no,
can decide from.
Okay, now we're talking about that. You like traveling.
I do.
You
I
didn't travel a lot.
like traveling to a short extent. Like I don't want to be gone all year. That's not for me. Couple months, no problem. One time, the longest stint I think I did was probably 8.5 months. It was only 100 miles away, so it wasn't too bad. It wasn't
but
too
you
far
still
out of
you
town.
live there, just
But
like
I
it was a
lived
travel.
there the whole time. I'd come back, hang out on the weekends, sometimes with some friends, but for the most part, I stayed out of town. It's good. Easier for single guys than married guys with children, things like that. So you got to just pick where you're at. Is it worth it or not for you and your family? And I can't tell you that. That's completely up to you.
One thing I want to say about this is, but then again, you look at somebody like Jason, a welder.
Mhm.
You know, I helped get Jason into the union after he graduated high school. He had done HVAC installations, loved the trades, loved working, didn't know what he wanted to do. And I was dating his mom, so I helped him get a job in the union. And he loved it. And he would travel to North Dakota, I guess, up there working on the oil lines, the pipelines. And I don't mean like a roughneck. I mean out working the big weld
Yep.
pipe. And he'd go up there. I don't know why they only do it in the middle of winter, but that's when he'd go up.
Yep.
And he'd go up and work in the winters. And he'd be up there, I think, 4 to 6 months working 10, 12 hours a day. Sometimes it's 16 hours a day. It's hey, we're working doubles.
Yep.
And man, he came home with bank.
I had guys that
God, it set his
loved
world
that.
apart.
And then like they'd come back here and they'd be like, "Look, I just want a 40-hour job."
Yeah. No, and that's what he does when he comes home.
Because they're like, I don't want to sit at home.
Right.
I don't want to be at the bar all day every day.
I don't want to spend all the money
So
I
let
just
me
made.
have a job where I got to
Yes.
work 8 hours a day, 5
Yep.
days a week at least. That's going to keep me out of trouble, is how they all would all
Such
call
a
it.
big difference. Now, there's good things about that. The easier to operate across state lines. I love that. The fewer delays. Love that because you can always get people. I mean, think about it. When we got a big project going and we are hurting for people, you can put out a nationwide call just like the union does. So that's good. And then standardized training and certification programs. Guys, I've been preaching about this for like 5 years now. The challenge is states could lose regulatory control. But I think if you get all the states involved, say, look, this is close enough. Each state could do an addendum just like every city does.
Like what I'm thinking is, why not? Why isn't this just a certification for a few key states that it is completely different? It's a lot different or whatever. Well, it's an endorsement on this license or something.
You still need to get them get all or none.
But what if
Do it
you
right.
even did like Northeast? Because
Regions?
Maine
Okay.
and California is
No,
two
no,
completely
you-
different worlds.
you
I'm
know
thinking regionals could possibly work too.
no, I kind of like that. And maybe that's the thing is you get the national certification says, look, you can go be a service plumber.
Yep.
Okay. Chances are you walk in the house, whether it's HVAC or heat, you can handle it. So I kind of see that. Maybe you do the national certification, then you've got to get your Southeast region
Mhm.
exemption, your Northeast, your Northwest, and your Southwest. So, okay, we can play with that. National exams and requirements might not reflect the regional building codes. That would solve that.
Yep.
And larger firms may benefit more than smaller businesses. Look, if you can buy Facebook ads, you can get people.
Yep.
And that's the way I see it. So that's good. Now, business training, how to build a strong referral network in the trades. And I want to tell y'all, word of mouth, networking, and all this is the number one way to grow your business. And I remember the first time going to a networking event because I kicked and screamed and yelled, I'm like, plumbers don't network. And I walked in this event, and it was with my ex that we owned the company together. And she kept saying, look, I network all the time. You need to get out and network. And I'm like, plumbers don't network. But we got out, walked in. I said, look, you go your way, I'm going mine. Guys, just getting out networking, I got 3 calls the next week. 3 from that event. And it was verified because it's like, yep, I remember meeting them. And imagine if you could just get 3 more calls. And I don't just mean phone calls, 3 jobs the next week. Would you go out and network every week? You're talking a $500, $600 average ticket, $1,500 to $1,800 for going out, happy hour, having a couple of drinks and visiting people, talking about what you do.
Coming up and saying hello.
Coming up and say hello. But you
Mhm.
can build you can build a referral network, and I did this with real estate agents. I eventually started hosting my own networking event with a group of other guys, and all we invited was real estate agents. If you're a plumber and you show up in your passing card, you just go up and say, "Hey, give me your card because you're going to split part of the bill with us." And they're like, "No, we're not. No, I'm not." Well, then don't hand out cards. This ain't your event, and that's exactly what we tell them. You weren't invited here. This is a private party. Go ask the restaurant. What's the restaurant going to tell them? That's a private party. Stay out of there. Why? We were there every month, spending thousands of dollars. So they're like, hey, you ain't messing this up for me, dude. Get out of here. But you can build that. Partner with other trades. One of the best things you can do. And I'm not going to say just other trades. What if you went to the biggest plumbing company in town and said, look, man, if y'all ever get to a point where y'all need somebody else to do slab leaks or leak detection or anything like that, or y'all get so busy you cannot get to all your calls one day, and you got just great customers and you need somebody just go and stop a drain or something, just please give us a chance. Great stuff to do. And then referral incentives. And so many people do this that they're like, look, every customer you send us, we'll send you $100 bill. Well, it normally costs more than that to acquire a customer in plumbing.
Yeah.
And then stay engaged on social media. If you're not doing social media, start. Even if you just start making videos about what you or your plumbers did at work today, and you put out, look, Squirt went out today and found a leak in Richardson. Well, you know what? People in Richardson are like, wow, I didn't know you could find leaks. But now they know what you do. And then you make another post the next day saying, look, Squirt went back and fixed that leak. Now it's like, wow, they don't just find them, they fix them. People seeing what you do puts you top of mind. And if they've got a plumbing problem the next day and the wife says, hey, that toilet upstairs is running again, are you going to fix it again for the 5th time this week? Nope, maybe this time I'm calling Fred because I saw that he does plumbing and he's my friend on Facebook.
Yeah.
Big difference. I'm gonna let you talk about work trucks here.
I was gonna say we're gonna move off into vehicles and the debate over hybrid versus fully electric work trucks. This is something that's kind of come up in our discussions on this show.
Mm-hmm.
So I found a comparison of a actual Ford hybrid F-150 power boost versus
How come you always talk about Fords?
well, Chad did this.
You've talked to Chad though.
I know.
You're the one putting the
Chad
same.
probably knows I drive a Ford.
We gotta fix Chad.
Nah,
Chad.
Chad's good.
Chad, me and you got.
But here's the main reason as to why.
Okay.
Because it compared it to the fully electric F-150 Lightning,
Which we hear a lot
which
of good
we
things
hear a
about.
lot of good things about. So
Don't we?
I was kind of glad that they were comparing a Ford to a Ford
I
at
like
least.
that. I like that.
You know, and so like full fuel efficiency. Okay, now I don't kind of like how it put it here, as usual, but for the hybrid, moderate improvement over gas models.
Okay,
cool. And then fully
it's a little
electric,
better.
it says zero fuel cost, full electric drive. I think some of that electricity probably cost, and if electricity is the fuel, I think that's called a fuel
Yep.
cost.
I
But
I got a message. I got a message on Facebook. Oh no, I got a message on YouTube this morning, and I just saw it pop up. I didn't go in and read it. And Colton could probably check our comments. Somebody saying it cost them more money to charge their car than they paid for gas.
damn it. Yep.
No,
I
no,
get
we
that. We haven't been
done
able
the
to study
research.
that yet.
Right.
Yeah. But
Go-
like
go ahead.
that's what I didn't like whenever this popped up, because it's what I run a lot of my stuff through, and it's like, oh well, if you're just saying that, oh, it's zero fuel cost period for the whole life of the vehicle,
Man, you're amazing.
that's awesome. Are you charging it at a free charger everywhere? Like, where are those at?
All right, wait a minute. so when I was looking at the Teslas, because I wanted the Sport,
Okay.
the one that I rode in, it goes from like 0 to 1 billion miles an hour in 2 seconds. So it's pretty cool.
Good job, Elon.
I know,
That's quick.
Elon, you're kicking it, brother. You are kicking it. But no, I wanted one. But the more research I did, it said next year's version is going to come out with the solar panels on the roof.
Okay. Now,
And I'm like, now I'm getting excited.
oh,
I know.
now, yeah, if they tested F-150 with the solar panels on the roof and
I'm-
a trailer behind it with solar, maybe it is zero fuel cost.
What if Ford called Tesla and said, hey, can y'all just install a solar panel in the back of the truck?
That'd be good.
Hey, this
Yep.
is the way this mind works, y'all. I have to deal with this every day. No, matter of fact, he has to deal with it every day.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
just think what I say and say what I think, and then we're good.
So another feature, towing and hauling. For the hybrid, similar to traditional gas models,
Because it's using the gas engine.
because it's
part.
using the gas part. The full electric side, limited range when towing heavy loads. And that's something that we discuss a lot on here when you're trying to think of, should we go electric or not? Job site power. For the hybrid, onboard generator for the tools.
And we've got those on our truck,
We've
so
got
we
those
can do
on
the same
ours.
thing.
That's it.
Here's the problem.
Here's the problem with the full electric. It can power the tools, but it's going to drain your battery.
So you can work all day off your truck, but then you ain't getting home.
That's right. If it dies,
You're up.
time to
The
charge.
creek.
So
The creek.
where you at? Because you're using your vehicle. So be cautious. guys.
Hybrid, you don't have to worry about charging it. You've already got that. You've already got that fuel backup. You've got the
Yeah.
combustion gas engine in it. And electric, you have to have access to charging stations.
Yes. I was going to say, like, the range anxiety. Okay. That's real, because, like, that's my biggest thing is the range anxiety
you'll talk-
of doing the switch.
No, you're talking about anxiety. I went to meet my buddy Bryce Kinney.
Yeah.
Monster Jam truck driver.
Mhm.
Here in town this week, and went down to Javier's to meet him for dinner. Leave not late, a little late, and of course, as soon as I pull out of the driveway, my gas light comes on. So I'm like, you know what? I know where a gas station is. As I get on 75, I'll just exit Campbell, and there's a gas station there, and get in. And man, it is jacked up. The readers aren't working. There's so many problems, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna get anxiety, but I'm just going to the restaurant. So anyway, look, it's real. Be careful. But now, what's the difference in the upfront cost?
So, on the upfront cost, the hybrid, it's lower than a full EV model on that front end cost. The full electric, it's more expensive initially because you're going to pay everything on the front end. So,
But
these
you
things
lose
to keep an eye out
the
for.
maintenance, the gas, the oil. I mean, there's a lot of
That's
savings
it.
throughout
There's
the
a lot
course
of
of it.
other
So
verbiage.
it is. It is so interesting. All right, social media. We're talking about plumbers, and we're talking. And man, this is neat that we're talking about James, because I reached out to James, man, when I first started plumbing.
Yeah.
So, hey man, let's do a collab together. And I guess he saw the size of my channel. He's like, yeah, no. And I'm like, oh, okay, but man, I like what you do, even though it's not always about plumbing. But I like what he does. And then a few years later, James reached out and he's like, hey, let's do a collab together. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of busy. But I was. I didn't mean anything bad. I would love to go over to the UK, hang out with James, shoot a video, and yeah, see what we could do. But go ahead. We're talking plumber parts here.
Yep. James,
If you don't know him, he's a great guy.
known as Plumber Parts Online. He's a seasoned plumber from the UK who has been sharing his expertise on YouTube since 2009.
Many, many, many years before I started YouTube, because I really didn't start until 2018.
That's it. Yes. So he offers a wealth of knowledge for both professionals and DIY enthusiasts. And some of the content highlights here. He does tutorials, product reviews, Q&A sessions, guys. These are a bunch of the big ones that we always tell you, if you're going to get out and start some social media, start showing off what you do. Give some tutorials, review the different products, tools, things that you have in your arsenal that you already have. This is how you can just get yourself started out there. Lots of engagement. He's got a lot of community interaction. And he's got a humorous approach to a lot of things too. So you can cut up and have some fun with it and still learn some things, which is huge.
And it's funny because I just clicked on a video because I want to see how many subs he's got now. And one of the very first things he does, and I know y'all probably can't see it, is a Temu ad. So shop like a billionaire. I didn't know billionaires shopped on Temu. But yeah, you learn something new every day. James, thank you for helping me and showing me. I appreciate that. Go ahead.
Why do you want to follow him? Expertise. With over a decade of experience on YouTube, James has established himself.
Okay, no, wait a minute. Did he just start plumbing in 2009 or did he just start YouTubing? Because I'm thinking more than a decade.
YouTube. He started YouTube in 2009.
Okay, so with more than a decade of plumbing.
Yeah.
I mean, on YouTube. Because I don't even have a decade on YouTube.
He has over a decade of experience on YouTube.
Okay, hey, we're just checking and double checking.
I'm just reading it one more time.
I've only got 7 years, so I bow down.
He's got you beat.
I know.
Got you beat.
I know.
And there's not a whole lot of YouTubers that were YouTubing a decade ago that are still doing it either, right?
No, most of them quit. They're
Yeah.
like, I'm done. This takes a lot of work.
So
and it does.
The dedication here, good for you, okay? Because it does take some dedication, especially a decade. That's a commitment.
I completely agree. and it's neat because he is so engaging, and he's done a live stream. I remember jumping in a live stream and I answered a question and said something. He's like, "Don't come over here and try to hijack my audience." I'm like, "Dude, are you serious?" I just made a comment that I made a video about the same thing. So yeah, it is pretty funny.
We call that self-promotion. He's got some comprehensive content. His videos cover a wide range of topics, catering to both beginners and seasoned professionals. Just kind of like you do. A lot of the plumbers do that. And I feel like a lot of the social media guys do it from the low end to the top end so that you kind of have that broad range of knowledge that you're learning from.
And you've got to do it all because, I mean, right now, don't know how many total viewers we've got because we've got TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and something else, I'm sure. But I mean, and it doesn't add it all up right here together. But the neat thing about it is there's some people here just now thinking about getting in the trades. And then there's people in here that own their own company and they're running their own company. So there's all kinds of different stuff and different skill levels. So even when I'm shooting a video, today I did a review today about Cole the Cornstar. and be careful how you say that. You say that too fast, you might say the wrong thing. But the funny thing about it is, he's like, look, I'm not a plumber. I'm a farmer. We farm corn, but I'm trying to replumb a $7,000 mansion. And y'all need to go watch that video just to see what he's talking about because it was really pretty cool. But now he's also working at his parents' house because he thought the plumber gave him too high of a price to do something, or the contractor. So he's like, we can do it for half that price. Now he's jumping in like, you know what? We might not be able to do it for half the price. So it's pretty good stuff. But look, James does some great stuff. And you've got to talk to all the skill levels. So I love the way he does what he does.
Yes. And if you're in a trade out there and you don't see a lot of it on social media, start posting, guys. People will find that so interesting because most of the people I know that started social media, they're like, look, I just started posting videos so my family know what I do in a day.
Wasn't that funny?
And
we heard a plumber tell us that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And I feel like I've heard it multiple times. Like, they're just like, it just kind of happened. And then my family was watching them. Well, then more people started watching my videos and asking questions. Then I started talking to them and they became my friends. And then it turned into, hey, wait, I do social media now.
All right. So let's jump in here real quick to the questions. All right. So talking about all this fun stuff. And then Matt says 1 to 3 times a month for me is definitely hard with a family. Assume we're talking about the bourbon and amaretto.
I was thinking travel maybe.
Well, travel maybe too. No, he does travel too. Working at relationships with customers is a great way to set in the word of mouth process. Guys, if you talk to your customers and communicate with them and just let them know what's going on, they will be like, okay, this is good. Generator is the real backup.
Yep.
And I want one. Matter of fact, we need to reach back out to Generac. Electric on an in-town setup would be great. Out of town would worry me. Mm-hmm. You're getting there soon, 3 more years. Yeah, and I'll catch up to him. But by then I'll have like 13 years. No, he'll have more than that. So I get it. And then let me know, what does your coming back to Vegas look like so I can try and isolate some time. We are coming in on
Got to be the 26th.
this month. Yeah, March
Yeah, this
26th.
month.
Yeah, we fly on March 26th, and we still need to book flights. We hadn't made it in there yet. We keep trying to.
Yeah, 26th is when we'll fly in.
Beautiful. All right, so let me ask you a question. I preach on the national certification. What are your thoughts on it? And I don't necessarily mean welders and fitters, because y'all have got that.
I was going to say,
union.
like me, I was a pipe fitter, so I can kind of go nationwide and work on any piping.
Not kind of, you can.
Like I can. Nothing holds me back from doing that.
And just so y'all know, when you're in a union, if you want to go to work in Washington State, you call your business agent, business manager, say, hey, I'll reach out to Washington State, see if they need a pipe fitter, and then call up there and say, yeah, we can bring him in. There's no per diem. They tell you what they're doing right then. But sometimes you get traveled, there may be a $200 a day per diem. What's the extra $1,000 a week right there?
Yep. That's it.
Or $1,400 a week if they're working 7 days a week.
And I think this should become more for others too, to be able to do that. Because pipe's pipe, like plumbing, guess what? Water runs downhill. When you pump it, you can pressurize it. That works the same anywhere around this planet.
Doesn't matter how you put it together, it works.
Now, different depths, different things like this. It's huge. I understand that. I know that there's differences, and we have to do it a little different everywhere. Well, guess what? Like down in the Dominican Republic, they ain't got no heaters, guys. Okay, like guess what? We know everything's different in different parts of the world,
indeed.
so it's not all going to be done the same. No.
So we do what we got to do.
But it's all installed pretty much in the same manner. Okay. I'm not going to say the same depths or anything like that, but I feel like we should be able to spread that a little further in licenses to be able to go nationwide.
I like that. And Cody Crumbs says, I was a pipe fitter myself, more of a fluid motion technician in the factory I was in.
Yeah.
Good for you.
That's awesome.
Guys, this video was sponsored by Leak Pro. And Leak Pro is the most precise leak detection system for professional plumbers. And we don't just sell it to plumbers. We have entrepreneurs, plumbers, maintenance people. We have people reach out in all kinds of different interests. Even HOA owners saying, hey, look, we know we've got a leak on a property somewhere. We want to buy this equipment. So I think it's fantastic. But it's the most precise leak detection equipment I've ever seen. So if this is something you're interested in, go to www.leak-pro.com and check it out. When you're there, look at the complete combo kit. I think the complete combo kit is the best way to go. It is going to give you the Sidekick, which has an aluminum rod, which is great for walking in, reaching under counters, putting it on the angle stop, and listen to see what kind of noises you get. You start out outside, though, with the Leak Pro probe. Now, sometimes I'll just grab the Sidekick to listen to the meter or listen to the valve box at the house because I'm on the way in. But the Leak Pro probe literally is like a probing rod. You can stick that thing down in the ground and push it really, really deep. Then you get to hear what's down at the bottom where it's touching down to or where it's reaching down to. I like the Sidekick because it's got the aluminum rod. I think you hear a little bit better through it. So when you're in the house listening through the concrete, it helps you hear a lot better. The stainless steel rod on the Leak Pro probe, though, is fantastic. When you're trying to push it down into the ground, you don't want an aluminum rod that'll bend or anything like that. Have I done it? Yes, I have. But I'm very, very careful with it, too. Here's the thing. With the Leak Pro Complete Kit, you're going to get everything you need. You're going to get 2 sets of headphones, both probing rods, and, well, adapters to help you tie onto what you want to tie onto. And if you buy the complete kit, guys, sign up for the training. Talk to Squirt, come in, learn how to use everything. Don't just buy equipment and not know how to use it the right way. We've designed and built a slab here that has 11 leaks under it. And we can teach you that, man, when you find these leaks, trust me, you're going to be good in the house because these are not easy leaks to find. So to find out more, go to www.leak-pro.com. And if you're interested in the training, give Squirt a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO. I'm going to jump in here real quick. So the theory is always the same. Absolutely. And Cody Crum says hydraulic, pneumatic, steam systems, water systems, certified hose bender. You got to love it.
buddy.
So, guys, thank y'all very much for being here today. We are fixing to go play with Monster Jam trucks.
That's it. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend. Get out there and hit it effing hard. Hope to see you back in here Monday. Bye, guys.
See ya.